had a great time. I met some really great people. I'm going to do a longer video about FitCon this year, but some other time when I'm in a better mood, because this weekend not so hot, which is why I'm listening to 9 Inch Nails. Not that I only listen to 9 Inch Nails when I'm in a bad mood, because 9 Inch Nails always rock. But the music kind of fits my mood. But anyway, I figured I'd do a review of X-Men Origins Wolverine, because I know I promised that one. So I saw the movie in Germany, like I said, thanks to a great friend of mine, Lars, who took me to see it in Cologne. Thank you, Lars. What I thought about the movie, well, honestly, there are a lot of negative things to say about Wolverine Origins. I think a lot of people who have already seen it would agree with me. But honestly, what I most wanted out of X-Men Origins Wolverine was a decent Gambit cameo, because I've been a Gambit fan since forever, and I've waited for Gambit to see him on the big screen ever since the first X-Men movie came out in 2000 or 2001 when it was. And I already knew that I was going to get a pretty good Gambit cameo, because I saw parts of the leaked work print, namely all the parts that interested me most, which were the Gambit and Deadpool scenes. So seeing it on the big screen, X-Men Origins Wolverine, satisfied me, because I pretty much got what I wanted out of it. But at the same time, I think overall, I was very, I don't know if shocked is the word, but definitely I was unpleasantly surprised by how poorly made this movie is. I'm talking about editing, I'm talking about CGI and special effects and action scenes. They feel very cheap and, honestly, like I said, very poorly made, because I don't understand, when you have $100 million to spend on a movie of this magnitude, how you can have bad editing and bad special effects. I mean, the only thing I can think of to blame is the director and the direction, because I don't think that Fox necessarily told Gavin Hood make this a very poor movie in terms of editing and special effects, unless they told him to chop it down to make it shorter, because a lot of scenes don't feel like they fit very well together. It feels like there's something missing in order to make those scenes flow better. And some other scenes actually feel longer than they're supposed to be. Like, they're supposed to be a bit more dynamic, and in fact they're very static. So that's a problem. When I saw parts of the work print, I thought, well, if the editing is bad and if the special effects are bad, obviously it's because it's a very rough cut of the movie. But actually, a lot of those problems transfer to the movie as it is. So that's one of the big issues that I had with it. Also, the story is very generic. You kind of go along with it because you have to. But honestly, it feels like it doesn't really matter how emotionally invested you are in the story anymore, or in the characters. It feels just like, you can almost tell when the action scene is supposed to start, because, oh, it's been 3 minutes, we have to have another action scene. It feels like they're just inserted in there without it necessarily being of any importance to the evolution of the story. And the story as it is, it's not that much of a story to begin with. But the one saving grace I can attribute to this movie, even if the story is not that good and the action scenes are kind of generic, we've seen this stuff before and we've seen it done better. The one saving grace I can give it is the fact that these actors are very likable. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I mean, he can do this role in his sleep. He's very likable, he's very funny in his own way. Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth, I mean, Liev Schreiber is an actor that you can watch in anything, because he's just so good and he's so charismatic, especially as a bad guy. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, he's in it for a very short amount of time, but again, he's a character that you love to watch. I'm sorry, he's an actor that you just love to watch. Also, Taylor Kitsch as Gambit, he was very charming, even though the accent accent was kind of on and off. Sometimes he had it, sometimes he didn't. But he does have a pretty cool action scene with Wolverine. The end fight sequence, the final big action scene at the end of the movie, I just didn't really buy it. The whole Deadpool being this uber mutant, it's so generic. It's a story plot that we've seen in 100 of other action movies from the 90s and even from the late 90s and the post-2000 action movies. But again, for an action summer movie, I think it was okay, especially for people who went in with no expectations. Like I said, I think the fact that, technically speaking, it's such a poorly made movie, it surprised me, because I don't expect comic book based movies to be so poorly made anymore. I just think that comic book based movies are properties in which studios should invest their all. They should make them the best possible movies they can be. And when I see Fox being so trying to give us such a convenient product when it costs so much, it's just, there's no excuse for it, honestly. There's no excuse for making a movie that's a bad product, because it's supposed to represent your best property, and it brings people into the theaters, and you're supposed to make it the best movie it can possibly be, at least technically, if you cannot do it story-wise, because obviously you're never going to have a story that's going to please everybody. But at the same time, there are certain rules to filmmaking that are applicable, and they're there for everybody to follow. And if you don't follow them, then not only do you have a bad movie, but you deserve to be crapped on because of it.